Hi, my name is Ben Greenfield, and I'm kind of known as the minimal training guy. And in this video, you're going to learn a marathon training system to get maximum results with minimal training, stop injuries, and dominate your race. And it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner runner or an advanced marathoner. But before I show you exactly how it is that you're going to do that and what you need to do to dominate your marathon, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and who I am. So basically, I am an endurance coach, a triathlon coach. That picture there is me sitting at my home office. That's what I do a lot of the time is talk to athletes on the phone about their nutrition, about their training, and write out programs for primarily endurance athletes. I do a little bit of fitness coaching as well, but mostly I work with runners and marathoners and cyclists and swimmers and triathletes and people like yourself who want to get faster at what you're doing. Well, I wasn't always an endurance guy. That's a picture of me when I was a bodybuilder. And I have probably about 20 extra pounds of muscle right there. And believe it or not, I came from bodybuilding into endurance sports, and I actually ran at that weight, as you see me now. And that was pretty difficult. That hurt a lot. And I am very glad now that I'm a little bit leaner than I was in that picture, or maybe not leaner, but at least lighter. So I did learn a lot about the science of the human body, though, when I was bodybuilding. Now, I run an online blog and podcast called Ben Greenfield Fitness, where I put out weekly advice for people in the fitness and nutrition niche. I run an online academy called the Rockstar Triathlete Academy, as well as an online coaching service called Pacific Elite Fitness, where I work with triathletes and endurance athletes. And of course, most importantly, I spend lots of time with my family, my beautiful wife Jessa and my little twin boys River and Taryn, who are 2 years old now. And I love to hang out with my family, and that's actually part of the reason that I am recording this video, because of the type of marathon training that actually lets me do that. So when we move on, you see here that this is a picture of me when I am probably about 5 or 6 miles into a marathon. And as you can see, things aren't going very well. I have that brace there around my knee, and believe it or not, I'm actually dumping ice down into that brace during the run because my knee was hurting so bad. And during my marathon training, I had experienced everything from ankle pain to knee pain to hip pain to low back pain, and I just did not feel good. I used to struggle a lot with a lot of chronic muscle problems, and I kind of thought it was normal to have achy joints when you run, to always feel like you were fighting an injury as you're trying to complete a marathon or train for a marathon. And really, I guess I didn't know any better, but the idea that running could be something other than kind of a painful, death march type of experience was something that was kind of foreign to me. And in addition to all the injuries and the issues that I experienced while I was running, I also, I wasn't really enjoying it. I felt like I had bricks on my feet and I was slogging through each workout. I felt like I was always at this 75% speed where I would just be running at a pace that was uncomfortable, but I couldn't go faster, and I was too embarrassed to go slower, and people would just fly by me like gazelles, just light on their feet, like they were floating on air. And I wanted to be that runner so badly, but just the heaviness in my legs and the inability to see gains in speed were holding me back. And what's even worse is I thought this was normal for me to be feeling this way while I was running. And so I finally got fed up with this. I decided that I just couldn't spend my entire life being a runner and feeling this way. And for me, that was about 5 years in. And hopefully for you, you're nipping it in the bud before then, or maybe you've been dealing with the same type of problems that I had dealt with for longer than that. Maybe you've been dealing with it for a decade. I know a lot of runners who have been running 20 years and kind of have that same look on their face as I do right there. A look of pain and maybe not even as much enjoyment as you should get out of running. So I started doing a lot of research. Of course, I read a lot of books on endurance training and running, did lots of studying and researching. And in addition to that, I was fortunate enough to actually have access to a physiology lab and biomechanics lab where I was able to conduct studies, lactate studies, VO2 max studies, find out really what was going on inside my body in between and during my running sessions. I was able to do biomechanical video analysis on myself and also on a lot of other runners to see what type of running form was actually ideal for marathoning and resulted in the best and the most efficient style of running for getting ready and training for a marathon. And then, of course, I also ran with a lot of people. Now, in that picture right there, I'm running alongside my wife, who happens to be a fantastic runner that I've learned a lot from. She ran for the University of Idaho. But, through watching her and a lot of the other athletes that I coached, I learned a lot about what I was doing wrong and what I really needed to do to actually bring myself to the next level and start to enjoy running and start to see progress in my training. And so I learned several elements of a successful marathon training program, and I want to tell you about some of these elements in this video. Now, if you're familiar with some of these elements, then I would highly recommend that you keep watching the video because there are some very cool things that I guarantee you have not seen in your life at the end of this video that I'm going to be showing to you. But the first element that I discovered is that you need to run 4 days a week, and you need to do that without losing your fitness. The reason for that is unless you're a Kenyan marathoner or pro runner, it's very, very difficult to run 7 days a week, be successful, and bounce back uninjured unless you have unlimited time for recovery and implementation of every single little running trick that's out there. If you're a busy person and you're trying to train for a marathon, going beyond a 4-day-a-week running program is really not necessary and actually gets you subpar results. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later on in this video, but the trick behind running 4 days a week is that every single run has to have a laser specific focus. And that's exactly what I tried to work into the marathon training system that I started to develop as I learned more about what the human body needed in order to run a marathon well. But the 4 days a week was really a big part of that protocol, and each of the days had to have a specific trick that was used on that day, a specific style of interval. Now, the second element that I learned about was that you need to do quality over quantity with just enough volume. And the reason for the just enough volume part is that you are going to be running a marathon. You are going to be running 26.2 miles, but the idea is that so many people go out and just do that long, slow aerobic training. And while that has to be part of a good program, it's simply not going to work unless you know exactly how to structure other higher intensity intervals around that and how to have the proper work to rest ratio in those intervals, know what heart rates you're supposed to be at those intervals, and actually do them properly. But element number 2 is quality over quantity. It's very important, and it's part of the reason that I'm called the minimal training guy is I like to get people the best bang for their buck with as little work as possible. And again, it's all about enjoyment here and enjoying your running and not slogging through it every day with no time for your family or for your friends. So that's a big part of the quality over quantity. And element number 3 is you need to keep your core strong and maintain power without bulking up. And that without bulking up part is the key, because you could put on lots of muscle and you would have very strong joints and ligaments. But trust me, remember that picture of me bodybuilding and posing? Well, I ran with that same amount of muscle in my body, and I would not wish that on anyone. Muscle is hard to carry, it's hard to cool, and it's really tough on the joints to be carrying that much weight as you're running as well, especially for a marathon-based distance. So the trick is to get your core strong so that you don't get injured, get your muscles strong so that you don't get injured, but do so in a way that doesn't bulk you up. And so that's something that's very important that I included in the system that I use to actually train for the marathon and change the way that I was running. And then, and I don't want to get all mystical here on you, but basically, the fourth element is that you need to learn mental techniques to actually mind over muscle your training. Because what you'll discover, if you haven't yet already, is that marathon is a very mental game. If you don't have the mind power that allows you to tap into your extra muscle stores, to tap into what you're actually capable of achieving during your training sessions and during your race, you're just going to hit a wall earlier. That's all there is to it. You got to be able to essentially trick your muscles using little Jedi fitness mind tricks into doing what they're truly capable of. And that's something else that's very important in terms of being a part of a marathon training system. So I put together all these elements, and I love this picture because both my feet are off the ground. I'm actually running the way that I felt after I changed up this running. I was light on my feet. I was like that gazelle that I wanted to be. I enjoyed my running. I felt like I was running on air. Things didn't hurt. I didn't get injured. I didn't have to wake up nervous about whether or not my body was going to start hurting at 4 miles, or my knees were going to start hurting at 6 miles, or my feet were going to start hurting at 8 miles. Everything just felt good. It all clicked. It was like I was all of a sudden in the zone, and my running was just flowing. And the cement blocks were removed from my feet. I actually enjoyed running. And you can see the look there on my face. I'm not smiling because I'm in a race and I'm pushing, but I started winning races. I started doing very well. And I know that might not be your goal to win a race. Maybe it is, but even if it's not, the idea is not even necessarily that you want to win your races or podium, just that you want to feel good when you cross that marathon finish line. And that's what started happening. I started feeling good. And so that was my impetus for creating this video for you, and here is why I'm creating this video about this marathon training system that I'm using. I'm doing this to prove once and for all that running doesn't have to be painful, and that you don't have to give up your life and your friends to train for a marathon. There's really no reason that marathoning has to be as painful, both socially and mentally and physically, that people make it. And so, I couldn't really keep a secret like this to myself. I can't just have this be my personal, selfish marathoning training system. So I want to show it to you too, and share with you not only those elements, but also how they all come together. But there is a problem, and here's the problem. Even with this new style of marathon training that I'm going to be telling you more about in this video, there are so many other things that you have to worry about that go beyond those 4 elements that I just told you. The nutrition. You have to know how to eat properly because, believe me, that's 50% of the equation if you eat right. Recovery is important. There's all sorts of little tricks that, guys in the Tour de France do when they got to ride 100 miles and get up the next morning and ride 100 miles again and do that for weeks in a row. And the type of recovery protocols that they use, you can also use. It's not like those are some closely guarded secret that's never been revealed. That stuff is available out there, and believe it or not, you can actually recover just as good as a guy like Lance Armstrong. So running technique is also important. I mentioned biomechanics earlier, but you have to have your biomechanics set up properly in order for the elements of a good marathon training system to actually come into place. You have to be able to do it, to execute it properly with the right movements. And then dietary supplements. The food that we have around us these days is leached of the vitamins, the minerals, and the nutrients that we need. We age and we reduce our absorption of a lot of the things that we need as we age. And of course, marathon training system takes way more out of somebody than, just being sedentary and maybe going to the gym for 20 minutes a day. And so dietary supplements are something that can not only help you to recover faster, but also give you a step up, give you an advantage over the competition. And again, help you to cross that marathon finish line with your arms up and that big smile on your face. So those have to be included in some type of marathon training system. Your current training status is important too. If you're watching this video, you might be injured. You might have a knee injury or a hip injury or a low back injury, and maybe you can't just launch headfirst into a marathon training system without that system taking into account some of the specific things that are going on with you and your body. And so a good marathon training system has to take into account your current training status. And then finally, even if you have a perfect system, if you're not ready on race day, if you don't have the checklist, and for any of you who have finished a race or a run with blisters and bleeding nipples and chafed armpits and everything else that can go wrong when you don't prep or get ready for the race properly, especially bonking and hitting the wall, that's a big one, or cramping. That marathon race day checklist is what actually gets you to be able to finish the race when it really matters on race day. No matter how good your training is, you got to be able to do it on race day. And so all those elements have to be included as well. So here I have this marathon training system. I know from my experience some of the elements that have to be included in it, and I had to somehow create this. And that's when I met somebody named Jill. And this is Jill. Jill is actually a running coach. She's an experienced marathoner from Seattle, and Jill actually has coached a lot of runners, but done a lot of running herself, and she was one of those 7-day-a-week type of runners. She was pretty much overtraining, but all the conventional runners and the running magazines and the marathon gurus and the running coaches, they were all trying to show her how to train, and she completed many marathons. She did Boston, she did New York, but in order to really be competitive in her training, she had to shave 12 minutes off her Boston marathon time. And so she just started training harder. She trained more, she increased volume, and the results of that was that she actually had one of the worst marathon times that she'd ever had in her life. So this time she changed up things. She decided that she didn't want to be injured. She didn't want to be slow. So she started to run 4 days a week, and she started to implement a lot of these same type of core and strength training protocols that I'd discovered in my own training. And as she did this, she started to teach it to her athletes, and she basically put all this together and created a marathon training system that was exactly, I met Jill at a conference, and she was sharing with me later on the phone about what she created, and, kind of the light bulb went off. I was like, wow, she actually has, through trial and error, through making mistakes, the same way that I did, the same way that I want to save you from doing, she had discovered the same things I had about marathon training. That there was this system that you could use that would actually make you faster by training less. You could get more by training less, which is a really cool concept. And so Jill and I came together, and what we did was we took this program that she had made called the Break Your PR program. And this was a 16-week marathon training program. And we decided to add even more to it because her program contained all these elements that I'd already learned, that I just shared with you, all those 4 elements and everything necessary to form the foundation of the marathon training system. But now we wanted to add more to it. So with the Break Your PR system, you'll learn a marathon training system to get maximum results with minimal training, stop injuries, and dominate your race, whether you're a complete beginner or an advanced runner. But, I want to show you a few of the things that happened with that Break Your PR program before I move on and tell you what Jill and I did next. So this is one of the athletes that Jill coaches, Brett from Colorado. He broke his PR by over 8 minutes. And, you don't have to strain your eyes and read everything that he says, but he says he was frustrated that none of the programs he tried gave him the results that he needed. And what he did was he tried this program that Jill wrote, and he PR'd by over 8 minutes. And he recommends it to anyone who wants to improve their race times and their overall fitness, strength, and mental toughness. This is Amy from Bellingham, and Amy says it's extremely well organized, and that's the best thing about this program. It's for everyone. It gives runners back their life. I will never go back to running 5, 6, or 7 days per week. Now that I've tried this program and achieved my best marathon time, I've never seen anything like this before. Here's Ozo. That's a cool name. Ozo from Seattle. And he says, I never hit the infamous wall on race day. I finished with a new PR and shaved over 11 minutes off my time. Jill's program is organized, easy to read and use. And Sunday, from Seattle. Sunday said, one of the most efficient and easy to follow programs I have seen. I was shocked at the level of improvement in my running as soon as I incorporated this one training technique she shares in her book. It's amazing. So basically, as Jill and I talked, what we realized was she really had this complete 16-week marathon training program, and it's got an easy to follow and fully outlined training schedule with no guessing. It's a 4-day per week training schedule that you can fit into your busy life while still having the energy to train and enjoy your life. And there's advice from me as well in there and other experts on the mental side of running and how to take your mind, or how to make your mind and your body go that extra mile. And so, you can go find this program that Joe created, but we actually decided to add more. And here's why. We're going to go back for just a second. I want you to look at the alphabet soup letters underneath my name. That CSCS. What that CSCS stands for is Certified Strength and Conditioning Coach. It's one of the most rigorous strength and conditioning certifications that you can get. You got to have at least a bachelor's degree in sports science in order to attain that certification. It's a very, very difficult test as well. It's a nail biter, trust me. By the same organization, the internationally recognized certification organization that gives out that CSCS to the people who are lucky enough to pass the test, I also became certified as a personal trainer. Now, from there, I got my certification as a certified sports nutritionist, enabling me to actually dole out nutrition advice and learn more about the way that the human body processed fuel as it trained for something like a marathon. And I also got my master's degree in exercise physiology, human nutrition, and advanced human biomechanics. So I studied a lot, even more over and above the stuff that I went over earlier in this video. And because I really have studied a lot of the human body, here is what I realized, even after seeing Jill's program. You need much more than just a 16-week program if you want to do a smart and effective marathon with no guesswork. And so that is why I decided that more things needed to be added into this program. And if you're watching this video right now, you're pretty lucky because all this stuff is going to be available to you. And I'm going to show you how you can get it and a lot more at the end of this video. So basically, we made much more. Exactly how much more I'm going to show you, but that's just an example of a few of the things that we decided to throw in on top of that marathon training system. And we put it all together in a package in this big box that I call the Marathon Dominator. Now, what exactly is in that Marathon Dominator system? Well, the first thing that's in this marathon training system is called 58 Seconds to Preventing Shin Splints. And what Jill discovered was actually this really cool technique that you can use in 3 specific exercises that actually get rid of shin splints and make sure that you don't get them again. And if you're watching this, then you as a runner know that you either are the marathoner who is going to get shin splints or you've already had them. But either way, it's a very frustrating injury. And I really liked what Jill created in terms of teaching you how to get rid of the shin splints and keep them off. Now, you remember me talking about the core training principles and the importance of the core, but also the importance of not spending a lot of time training and not bulking up. And that's what the 6 minutes to 6-pack video does. Jill shows you how to implement this into the 16-week program and actually get your core to the point where it can support every single bone-jarring step of that marathon and make you feel like you actually are generating strength and power from your hips. So that's the 6 minutes to the 6-pack. And then in addition to that, we talked about why it's important for you to know exactly what to do on marathon race day. And so the program comes with a race day cheat sheet that shows you exactly what to do before, during, and after the marathon. And all of those have a $37 value, but we're going to be giving them to you for a lot less than that. Now, in addition, you've got this Inside Nutrition Edge interview that's actually with Jill and myself, where I reveal stuff I've never talked about before in terms of exactly how to optimize not only your race day nutrition, but also everything that you put into your body leading up to that race. And it's crucial marathon fueling information if you really understand that nutrition is half of the puzzle of getting to that finish line and feeling good doing it. Now, we talked about your current training status and what to do if you're injured. Well, if you're watching this video and you're injured, we wanted to make sure that you know what to do to get yourself back into shape. You know, a lot of doctors will tell you, and I'm not a doctor, but a lot of doctors will tell you if you go into their office and you're a marathoner and you're injured, they tell you, I'll just take 4 weeks off or 6 weeks off. And they don't understand that we aren't capable of that. We have to have some way that we can stay fit. And so I pull out all the stops in this interview and teach you exactly what you need to do to stay fit if you're injured. If you're watching this video and you want to train for a marathon and you have an injury, I tell you exactly what to do. Now, in addition to that, we put my book in there called How to Recover from Injuries Like Wolverine from X-Men. Now, what that book teaches you is not only the type of exercise techniques that you can use to bounce back, but also, remember I was talking about the Tour de France, well, all these little techniques and recovery tips that they use and all the little secrets, all the supplements, all the diet stuff, all the, everything, every technique and tool that's out there, I bring it to the forefront in this book and I teach you how to implement it so that you bounce back like Wolverine from X-Men after your long training runs. And everything I just showed you is valued at $27. And then we've got this top 10 fixes for low back pain. The number one problem with runners and marathoners is chronic low back pain. I teach you how to fix it in this manual. This manual alone is priceless in terms of what it's going to bring you as far as banishing your back pain or making sure that you never get that bane of marathoners, that low back pain. And then we talked about nutrition supplements and how much of an edge that they can give you, but also how crucial they are for people who are exercising more than the average population. And nobody fits that bill better than an endurance athlete like a marathoner. So what I did was I brokered deep discounts on everything that you would need to recover, to perform, to shed weight if you need to, and I put it all together into this book. And when you open it, it's just full of proprietary discounts that you can use basically to get at wholesale all the stuff that you would normally pay top dollar for at your local supplement outlet or grocery store. And so it's the Marathon Supplements Discount Guide, and that's just jam-packed with tons of deals. And so when you put all these bonuses together, or if you were doing the math as I went through all those, essentially all of these together, each of the bonuses, they're valued at $263 if you were to go out and get these one by one and just, find them on the internet and buy them and download them. But we're going to definitely give you a much better deal than that. And remember, what you see right there is not everything that you get when you dominate your marathon, when you use this Marathon Dominator program, because the core foundation of the system is the Break Your PR 16-week system. Now, that sells on Training Peaks right now for $99. And that is the entire program. You could go buy it right now on Training Peaks for $99. You wouldn't get any of those bonuses, those $263 worth of bonuses that you just saw, but you could pick it up if you wanted to for that. We're going to give it to you for a lot less than that. So don't worry. I'll get to the price in just a minute. But if you did the math there, you'd be looking at $362 to actually just go out and find this package on your own. But that's really not all, because run coaching and nutrition consulting can be very expensive. I should know. I'm a run coach and a nutritionist myself. And coaching, if you go out there and research, it'll cost you anywhere from $100 to $450 a month to get coached in something like running. Now, nutrition consulting, that's going to cost $75 to $150 just for a single visit to learn about half of what you get out of the books and the audio products that come with the Marathon Dominator system. But even that's not all, because medical care can also be expensive. And as you know from watching this video, you can get injured if you're not training for a marathon properly. And a doctor costs, even if you're paying out of pocket and just even a little bit less than $100, the premiums are going to hit you later on. The x-ray usually costs around $150. Again, your insurance is going to be racking up the premiums if you're using insurance. If you don't, then I feel really sorry for you, because a lot of those soft tissue injuries require MRIs, and those can be upwards of $1,000 and more. So medical care can be exorbitant in terms of adding up and really coming back to bite you and making a marathon almost impossible. You know, it could break your bank to actually go out and try and do a marathon and do it right if you're trying to piece together all these parts of the puzzle. That adds up. And if you were doing the math, you'd be looking at an average of about $350 a month to actually get you to your marathon, and a lot more than that if you're unlucky enough to actually get injured. Well, the good news is this: you won't pay anything near that to learn a marathon training system that gets you maximum results with minimal training, stops your injuries, and allows you to dominate your race. Whether you're a beginner marathoner or an advanced marathoner, just a complete rookie just starting out with running, or you've been doing this a while and you just want to get faster, you are not going to have to dish out that amount of money to actually get a marathon training system that works. And so initially, when Jill and I were talking about this, we thought, well, you know, for those months of training, for everything that comes with this package, you know, it's basically, if you kind of think about everything that's in there, the coaching, the consulting, the bonuses, you're looking at around $997 to really get all that and include the peace of mind that you're doing everything right. But we don't want to charge you $997 for this product. And even something that you're going to see a lot out there in a lot of products, which is $497, we actually don't really want to even charge you $497 for this product as well. And so we're not going to do that either. And, you know, $197 seems pretty reasonable. And if you're watching this video, you're not even going to be getting at that $197. Basically, what we are going to do with this Marathon Dominator package, everything that you see there, plus the other bonuses that you're about to find out about at the end of this video, it's going to be $97. I know that's low, but it's a ton of value, and I wanted to really reward you for being on this website, for watching this video, and I'm going to tell you quite a bit more, well, not quite a bit more, but a few more very exciting things here as we go forward. And first of all, it is this: even for that low $97, if for any reason you're not 100% satisfied with the entire Marathon Dominator package, you get all your money back, no questions asked. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. That's an ironclad guarantee and promise. Now, in addition to that, while this video is up, while this video is playing on your computer right now, you get the entire Break Your PR training system, which is that $99 package. You'll get all the bonuses, that $263 worth of books and audio products. You'll get, of course, complete confidence that you're doing everything right, and you won't have any guesswork as you're standing there at the marathon starting line, looking down at those 26.2 miles, seeing all those nervous faces around you. You'll know that you did everything right, and just a few hours later, you'll have your arms in the air, a big smile on your face at the finish line, because you followed the system and you implemented it, and you feel good. You feel fantastic, and you ran the way you're supposed to run, in a way that you enjoy. And to me, personally, that's priceless. When I experienced that, it was priceless. And so that's not all. There's going to be one more killer bonus that you get as part of this video. Now, here's how it works. Here is the killer bonus. If you grab the Marathon Dominator while this video is up, and I'm going to show you how to get it. If you grab it now, in the next little bit while the video is still playing, and you email your receipt to me, and you can write this down. You could always go Google my name. You'll find my email address, but you could write this down. If you email me your receipt, which you'll get right after you get the program, you forward that to me in an email, ben@bengreenfieldfitness.com. I will hook you up with free access to my nutrition packet for endurance athletes. This packet only goes out to the athletes that I coach in my concierge coaching package, but I want to give it to you. It's full of all the crucial dietary questions that you have to ask yourself to completely reinvent your diet. If you've never eaten healthy before, it walks you start to finish through actually reinventing your entire nutrition plan. It walks you step by step through race day plans. It brings you through sample race weeks, tons of sample sample meal plans in there, carb loading plans. I update it all the time. It's been growing for the past 7 years, and I'm going to email it to you along with the password to access it as part of this program. Now, here is what you have to do. This video is going to disappear in 5 minutes, but in the next 5 minutes, if you type into your browser window, right at the top of your browser, if you type in marathondominator.com/go, that's marathondominator.com/GO, you're going to get the entire 16-week training program, all the bonuses, everything, including my emailing to you that nutrition packet that only goes out to the athletes that I coach. You're going to get all that if in the next 5 minutes you go to marathondominator.com/go. Your browser is probably already at marathondominator.com, and all you would have to do is type /go, and you can grab Marathon Dominator immediately. Now, if you're thinking, I'm a complete couch potato, I've never run a marathon before, how do I know this program is cut out for me? Well, basically, if you can do a walk/jog and get yourself up to somehow being able to cover 8 miles, then you are completely set to go with everything that you need to be doing this program and running a marathon in 16 weeks. Now, if even the idea of that is intimidating to you, then I'll tell you what, just email me after you grab the program. Tell me where you're at right now, and I'll tell you how you can prep to even be at week 1 of this program, which means that you would need to, for your longest run of the week, be able to walk or jog 8 miles. Now, in addition to that, if you're a really advanced runner, which I know that maybe if you're watching this video, you love running, you've watched it, well, this program might be something that you're thinking maybe too beginner for you. But this is exactly what I use when I thought I was on top of my game and I thought I was running fast, even though I wasn't enjoying my running and I was getting injured all the time. I used this program and I went from being good to being really good. And that is exactly what you'll do if you're already a good runner, but you want to get even better. So this thing is not designed for the complete rookie, for the complete beginner only. It's designed for the people who really want a podium, who want to win races too, who want to break their PR. So it doesn't matter if you're already a good runner, you are going to get to be a great runner with this program. So, you know, the difference between the Marathon Dominator program, which you can get right now at marathondominator.com/go. You have to type it in. You can't click on it. You have to type it in. Come on, up in your browser window right there. You type in /go. Now, the difference between it and the other programs, remember, is that you can get a marathon training system out there that may even be a 4-week system or a 4-day-a-week system that'll walk you through the exact running protocol that we designed, the type of intervals that we laid out, but we're also including, again, everything that you need, everything that I learned in my studying that you need in addition to just that system. You need more than just the weekly workouts written out. You need to know the nutrition, the race day tactics, how to prevent the injuries, how to get rid of shin splints, how to make your core stronger, how to get your body stronger without bulking up. So that's why we included all that stuff with the Marathon Dominator system. So it's not just that 4-day-a-week running program that you're getting. You're going to be getting a lot more than that. Now, in addition to what I just told you about, in addition to what comes with it, you'll also get total access to the program right now that's on Training Peaks. So if you like to use the website trainingpeaks.com, which lets you send workouts to your phone, download workouts to your computer, not only are you going to get the PDF and the Excel file that lays out that 4-day-a-week program, you'll get complete access to the $99 Training Peaks program for free that gives you Training Peaks access to that as well. Really cool way to log and keep track of your progress as you go. So as you type in marathondominator.com/go into your browser, I just want you to, again, imagine yourself standing at the starting line of the marathon. You're light on your feet. You shake out your feet. You feel like you could fly, like you could run on air. It's not intimidating to you knowing that you have 26.2 miles in front of you. You're excited about it. You're like a dog on a leash, ready to just lash out at that race and enjoy it. Big smile on your face. You've done everything right. You're ready to dominate your marathon. And that's my dream for you. It's why I designed this system. It's why I showed you this video, because I want you to dominate your marathon. So this is your ultimate opportunity. Don't pass it up. It's your only chance. Grab it now at marathondominator.com/go, and I'll see you at the races.